A paid-off home in retirement is worth more than most people think. And I'm not talking about the equity, not rising home prices, not even the money you save by eliminating the mortgage. There is another advantage that stays almost invisible while everything is going well. But when the market falls, expenses jump, or retirement suddenly gets more expensive, it can become far more valuable than the house itself. And once you see what it actually protects, you may never look at a paid-off home the same way again. Let's get the obvious stuff out of the way quickly. No mortgage means lower monthly expenses, no interest payment, no lender waiting for a check every month. Wonderful. But a paid-off house is not free. You still have property taxes, insurance, repairs. And apparently every air conditioner in America has agreed to die during the hottest week of the year. So simply saying, my mortgage is gone, therefore housing is free, is fantasy. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says housing remains one of the biggest expenses in retirement, especially when you still have a mortgage. But none of that explains the hidden value I mentioned. For that, we need two retirees. Meet Robert and Mike. Both are 66. Both retire this year. Both have about $700,000 invested. Both receive roughly the same Social Security and pension income. And both live in homes worth around $450,000. From the outside, their financial lives look almost identical, except Robert still has a mortgage. His principal and interest payment is about $2,000 a month. Mike paid his mortgage off before retirement. Forget taxes and insurance for a moment. They both pay those. The difference we care about is simply $2,000 every month. At first, that does not sound dramatic. Robert can afford it. He planned for it. His retirement calculator says he is fine, and for the first year, he probably is. But that little $2,000 payment is about to become much more expensive than it looks. Robert's mortgage costs him $24,000 a year. That sounds manageable until you translate it into retirement money. Morningstar's current research puts a reasonable starting withdrawal rate at roughly 4%. At that rate, generating an extra $24,000 a year could require around $600,000 in investments. That is the part most people never calculate. A $2,000 monthly mortgage does not just feel like a $2,000 expense. In retirement, it can create the same annual cash demand as a portfolio worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Mike is not magically $600,000 richer, but his retirement has one enormous advantage. It does not have to produce that extra money every year. And over 10 years, Robert's mortgage alone demands about $240,000 in cash, before repairs, before inflation, before a bad market. That is where this stops being a simple housing payment. Because if the market falls at the wrong time, Robert may be forced to fund that mortgage with investments that are already down. And that is when a $2,000 payment can quietly do damage far beyond $2,000. The next part is where the real danger begins. For 2 years, Robert's mortgage looks manageable. Then the market drops, his investments fall, but the $2,000 payment does not. And that is when this ordinary mortgage starts doing real damage. Robert's portfolio is down 20%, but the mortgage does not care. The bank still wants $2,000 this month and another $2,000 next month. So Robert starts selling investments while they are already down. That is where the damage becomes permanent, because the shares he sells today are gone. If the market recovers next year, they recover for someone else. Not for Robert. And suddenly this is no longer just about numbers on a screen. It is the new truck he planned to buy at 70. The long road trip he and his wife kept talking about. Mike is watching the same market fall, but he does not have to find that extra $24,000 for a mortgage. That gives him something Robert is starting to lose: room to wait. Wait before selling. Wait before cutting plans. Wait before one bad market year starts rewriting the next 10 years of retirement. And that is where the paid-off house becomes much more than a house. Because the real advantage is not what Mike saves today. It is what he may still be able to afford tomorrow. But the next advantage is even more surprising, because it has nothing to do with the stock market at all. A market drop hurts, but real life can force the decision. A new roof, a major dental bill, one expense Robert cannot postpone. And because the mortgage is still draining $2,000 every month, that surprise does not just cost money. It can decide which part of his retirement gets sacrificed next. Robert and Mike each receive about $4,200 a month from Social Security and other reliable retirement income. For Mike, that covers normal life. For Robert, it does not. With the mortgage, he is already short about $1,800 every month, so the portfolio fills the gap again and again. Then one Sunday, Robert's granddaughter sits across from him at the kitchen table. She wants guitar lessons. She has already picked out the teacher. She is excited. Robert smiles. Then the calculation starts. Another $150 a month. Another withdrawal. Another little piece of the account gone. He hates that a simple yes suddenly feels expensive. Not because $150 will ruin him, because he no longer knows which $150 will matter later. Mike gets the same kind of request. He says yes, and that is the end of it. He does not open his brokerage account. He does not calculate how many years are left. He does not wonder whether one small gift today will become a problem at 85. That is the difference. Robert's portfolio is paying for ordinary life. Mike's is still sitting there for the things he chooses. And once your investments become your monthly paycheck, every market drop starts to feel like a clock running faster. Mike still has one advantage left, and it is sitting inside the walls of his house. Mike is 76 now. The big house has started working against him. Too many stairs, too much yard, and every doctor appointment means half an hour in the car. So he sells. He buys a smaller condo for around $300,000. Elevator, doctors 10 minutes away. His daughter lives close enough to stop by after work. And after selling and moving costs, Mike could still free up well over $100,000 in cash. Suddenly, retirement gets easier from both sides. His home asks less from him, and his bank account has a much larger cushion behind it. The house that protected his money for years has now given him a safer, simpler life at 76. Robert wants exactly the same thing. Closer to the kids, less house, less work. But when he looks at his numbers, he realizes something frightening. Mike is deciding where he wants to grow old. Robert is starting to wonder whether he can afford to choose at all. Robert is 76 now. The mortgage is still there, but that is not what wakes him at 3 in the morning. It is the thought that the money may run out first. Dark room, phone in his hand, same account balance, same question. How long can this last? What if he lives to 90? What if the market drops again? And then comes the thought he hates most. What if one day he has to call his children and say, I can't cover this? Not because he wants help, because he has no choice. That is what scares him. So he starts saying no before life forces him to. He delays the move closer to the kids. He spends less. He watches every withdrawal. Mike is 76 too, but he is not preparing for rescue. He is still deciding what he wants the next 10 years to look like. Robert is trying to avoid dependence. Mike is still planning his life. At 66, Robert and Mike looked almost identical. At 76, Robert opens his banking app before he says yes to anything. Mike opens his calendar. Robert wonders which bill could hurt next. Mike is choosing between lunch with his daughter and a quiet afternoon at home. 10 years ago, the difference was one mortgage payment. Now it shows up in almost every decision they make. That is the real value of a paid-off home. Robert is still asking, yes, can I afford this? Mike is asking, what do I want to do? The house was never the real prize. The choices were.